what you're doing.
Sure. So what we announced today was essentially a program where we're going to work with 200 iPhone developers and provide them with $5,000 each in advertising. And what we're going to work with those developers to do is to help them incorporate advertising into their applications, whether they be web apps in Safari or actually native iPhone apps. There's plenty of free apps. There's plenty of people wondering about how monetization is going to happen. And we're hoping that this program is going to be an interesting way for developers to incorporate advertising into their applications and generate money off of them.
And when we were on the elevator coming up here, you said you had how many developers sign up in the first 10 hours?
We had 32 developers so far sign up since we announced this morning.
And now you said something on a panel earlier that I found was interesting. The CPMs you're getting in some of these mobiles, like $10, but the iPhone is $30 on it. So in other words, you're getting 3x from your iPhone.
Absolutely, those are the low end of the CPMs that we charge. Now, keep in mind, not all inventory is filled with that. That's essentially a brand CPM.
Right.
Some inventory, in fact, not some. Most inventory is filled with what we call performance, and the performance stuff still on the iPhone is doing 3x what we're doing. So, in both cases, the iPhone inventory is 3 times more valuable right now.
Remind us how big you are, like how many ad impressions you served up last month or this
We
past
served
year?
3.5 billion impressions last month, which is about 10x bigger than we were the year before.
And you were on the panel, and people kept asking, when is mobile advertising going to come here?
Yeah.
You kept saying what?
I kept saying I'm getting kind of tired of the question, right? So I think that as a company, we've been around for only 2 years. We've grown tremendously. Google and Yahoo are making hundreds of millions of dollars. We're certainly not making little amounts of money in the space. And there's real money being made here. And if you look at, even if you look at online, Google made in their second year $17 million, if you just look at their S1. So that is the example of what it took and how long it does take for things to emerge. But mobile's really here. I just ran an example there as well, where we ran a live ad campaign. We had, I think, 500 clicks in 3 minutes. So that's something where people, I think, need to start paying a little bit more attention and not asking when is it going to happen, but what can I do to be a part of it as it grows? Because it is growing and it is there.
And what are some of the catalysts going to be in terms of really the sort of the curve taking off and exploding?
The biggest catalysts that we've seen are data plans. So actually, there's a couple things, right? First is data plans, which I mentioned. Flat rate data plans, which are clearly understood by users. I think even 2 years ago, it was scary to open up the browser on your phone just because you didn't know what you were going to get charged or if you were going to get charged or how you were going to get charged. And I've had people literally, when I was trying to show them something on a phone, be like, no, don't open that. I don't know what happens. I think people get now what's starting to happen, right? So that's one. The device, ease of use on the device is another. And I think in developing markets, the fact that the mobile is their primary internet access device has been a big deal. Our second largest market outside the U.S. is now Indonesia. That was as of last month. Before it was India. And the third market, I think, is South Africa. Like, there's traffic in a lot of places where these are people who are only accessing the internet via their mobile device, and it really is sort of it really is starting to spread across the world in that way as well.
And remind us a little bit about some growth rates for the company, either in terms of growth of ad impressions, growth of how many employees you got, growth in revenue,
Sure. So we have 75 employees. The company, as I said, is about 2 years old. So I raised them. No, it's over 2 years old. I was founded in January 2006, but I raised money in May of 2006. So 2.5 years old. 75 employees. We are serving 3.5 billion impressions. We were serving 10x lower than that, so in the 350, 400 million range last year. So it's grown 10x in the last year. Revenue has grown at a similar rate.
And you were on the panel. A guy from CBS was there. Given some of the numbers you're talking about, have you guys gotten any interest, any strategic buyers sniffing around?
So we actually work with CBS. They're one of our partners.
Okay.
And we absolutely have had interest, but we obviously don't talk about it any more specifically than that.
Right. Okay, Omar. With AdMob, thanks so much.
Thank you.